Do you like newer and vintage Hot Wheels, Matchboxes, and other small diecast cars? That's awesome, because I do too. You've landed on YouTube's newest channel dedicated to these little cars. They don't cost much, and you're surely not going to get rich buying or selling them, but they are pretty special to look at, and they're fun to collect. They have cool colors and designs to match all different types of personalities. There are a lot of details that go into them to either make them really true to life, stuff like this, that's very true to life, or really cool, super fantasy cars like this one I just picked up today. Okay, so in this initial deep dive into the collection, we're going to talk about 3 Rolls-Royce sedans today from my initial collection. This is a silver Rolls-Royce Phantom 6 from 1976, and it's made by Tomica. This is one of the 8 cars that I had preserved in a special sock when I had packed them up as a teenager so they wouldn't get messed up in a lot of our moves. This one is number F6. It was made in Japan. The fandom sites really don't have many details on these, and after an initial run in the mid to late 70s, it looks like it had a second life from about 1988 until 1998 in the form of Tomica's model number 86. My favorite features about this one are quite simply just the elegance of it. The wheels are a little bit small, but I appreciate the fact that it's a limousine. It's got a lot of nice grooves and curves and features. I like the opening doors. It's a nice touch. And the heavy weight of the car is really impressive. It just makes the vehicle feel important. Even though it's a toy, it feels like it shouldn't be a toy. It's really nice. So now let's give it some scores, and we'll start with uniqueness. And when I talk about uniqueness, I'm talking about its things like its potential collectability, its perceived rarity, its age, any licensing tie-ins, with specific brands or pop culture or anything like that. And so from a uniqueness perspective on this particular Rolls-Royce, it was released in silver with red interior initially, which is what this one is, but subsequent versions were in black, maroon, gold, and then there was even a two-tone blue with the white roof. These cars are rare, pure and simple. It's interesting that the used ones go for approximately $20 online, and the new ones go for between $96 and $236. For that reason, I'm giving this a uniqueness score of 9. Next, let's talk about presentation value. When I'm talking presentation value, I'm talking about things like attention to detail. Does it have rubber wheels? Or if not, are the wheels extra special? Do the doors open? Are there any other special features and attachments with the car? Or is it something just basically a blob on 4 wheels? In other words, how much thought was really put into making these true to life or extra special? So with this car, this is truly special, and though I love Tomica's workmanship, it really is second to none. With this being a 1/78 size as opposed to the more standard 1/64 like that Hot Wheels and Matchbox use, the demure size can't help but detract from the overall presentation of the car. But things like the features like the functional suspensions, the wheels, you can feel when you roll this, it really glides like it's floating on air. So like I said, the functional suspension, the details such as the fuel filler door. See the fuel filler door right there? And the bumper guards. And the engraved license plate. Look on the front. It says WJ 1976, WJ76. Really cool right there. These are really nice, and this is a really nice car. For that, I'm giving it a presentation of 7. So next, let's talk about nostalgia. This is my fun score, and this is where I throw the rules out the window and I score it based on how much I personally like it. Things that drive this score are the nostalgia that it evokes for me personally, memories and the fun times that I had with it. Or it may be a car that doesn't particularly check all the boxes from a collectability and workmanship perspective, but I appreciate the intent of it. And it may be a car that might not be my my cup of tea, but again, I appreciate what it is meant to be. So with this Rolls-Royce, I can still remember the night my dad bought this for me at the toy store in Carmel Commons in Charlotte way back in 1979. Grades of 9, 7, and 5 result in an overall TIMScore of 7. This is a good, solid representation of cars of the 70s, and I'm glad I've got it in my collection. Okay, next up is this really nice Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2 from 1979. It's a Lesney Matchbox. And by this time, you are probably really recognizing that I am a sucker for these older cars like this from the late 70s, real early 80s, especially the Lesney ones. This is number MB39 as part of Matchbox's Superfast series. Again, Lesney model. It's sitting on standard Matchbox wheels of the day, but they work on this. They're not too small, they're just right. My favorite features, again, just looking at this, holding it, feeling it, touching it, it exudes quality workmanship, which I really appreciate in this Matchbox. The extreme level of detail in the windshield, you can see the windshield wipers and the rearview mirror engraved there, really nice. And also the pronounced bumpers are 3 of my really fun features on this one, my favorite features. Now let's give it some grades, and we're ultimately going to build on an overall TIMScore, and we're going to start with uniqueness. There are only 5 variants of this particular Rolls-Royce that were in production. 4 of those, from what I can tell, were released from 1979 to 1984, and then there was a black version that was released in 1995. I would love to have get my hands on a black one. But anyway, this red version with tan interior is from 1981. It's ubiquitous for the day. I think most of my friends had these, but you know, they were really played hard and they disappeared into oblivion. Used, these go for around $15 online, and I can't find any new, but a near mint one goes for about $65 I saw on eBay. I'm giving it a unique score of 8. Okay, presentation of this Lesney Matchbox. And I know when you hear me say the words Lesney, you know that it's going to be the gold standard in presentation, and this one does not disappoint, especially for the time. And according to the fandom website, the chromed grille, headlights, and bumper were a single piece, and they were separate, I guess separately attached from the rest of the car. And so it wasn't a part of the body, the base, or the interior. And it ultimately gave this car 15 different distinct parts. So there was the body, there were 2 doors, there's a door spring, there's window glazing, the grille, headlights, and bumper, the base, and then leaf spring suspension, and 2 axles and 4 wheels. That is pretty amazing. I'm giving it a presentation score of 10. Nostalgia, being a kid, playing with these cars for hours in my bedroom, living room, or outside, dreaming of hitting it big one day, this Rolls-Royce by Matchbox was always my #1 pick. I'm giving it a nostalgia score of 9. With scores of 8, 10, and 9, this Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2 from 1981 gets a TIMScore of 9. You can't get much closer to perfection than this. Okay, last for today is the 3rd Rolls-Royce in the lineup. So this is a red Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit from 1990, and it was released by Matchbox. This is, again, one of the 8 cars that I had preserved, especially protected them when I was moving around so much as a teenager. This is number MB177 from Matchbox. It is not a Lesney version. By this time, Matchbox had started branching out, doing some different style wheels, and such as these. See, these have kind of like a turbine look with the red, with the round circles in it. Pretty new for the time. So my favorite features on this are, it again, just like the Lesney version, it does exude quality workmanship. I love the extreme level of detail in the windshield with the rear view mirrors and the wipers. Also, the pronounced bumper and doors just give it a really solid look. The body style, they've done a nice job replicating it, making it true to life, like the the headrests in the back as well. So let's talk about uniqueness. Though this model was released in 1987 in gold, which I've never seen, the maroon version like this didn't come onto the scene until 1990, and it was produced all the way up until 1996 in this same color. I don't see any other record of any other colors. So given the fact that it did run for 10 years, mostly in this maroon color, not sure that the uniqueness is quite at the level of its predecessor, that Silver Spirit 2 that I reviewed just a few minutes ago. I'm giving it a unique score of 6. So let's talk about presentation. Presentation is overall pretty good. Love the opening doors. Despite having its special heritage and quality of that Silver Shadow 2 Lesney version, it feels like the accountants got a little bit, stingy in terms of how much money they gave engineering and production, and they kind of forced them to do some budget cuts, in my opinion. I don't know that for sure, but it just kind of feels like it's 90% there. So it translated into a slightly diminished execution, in my opinion. So it's a presentation score of 8. So let's talk nostalgia. This didn't come out till 1990. I was almost in college. I didn't have quite the pull to this one as I do some of the others, but I still wholeheartedly appreciate its legacy. I'm giving it a nostalgia score of 8.
With scores of 6, 8, and 8, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit from 1990 gets a TIMScore of 7.3. Solid follow-up to the 79 Silver Shadow 2. Well done.